14 Dead Robins. Now that Rachel was famous, Marie decided to get Under the Sea Wind printed again. This time it became a top seller, too, having 2 books on the bestseller list ended Rachel's money worries forever. She paid all her debts and quit her job. She had a house built beside the sea in West Southport, Maine. In the summers, she could write there in peace and quiet. Her front yard was full of wild aours and sweet, smelling balsam fir trees. A few steps from her back door were a granite cliff and tide pools full of sea animals. Rachel could see both the woods and the 42 wearer from the desk in her workroom. There she began work on a new book. It wasn't easy. Her best-selling books got many awards. Rachel had to give many speeches, though. She was still nervous about talking to groups. She wrote out exactly what she was going to say each time, so she wouldn't make any mistakes. Then she changed words and sentences to make her speeches sound even better. When the writing was just right, Rachel underlined or put stars beside parts that were most important. That way, she remembered when to make her soft voice a bit louder. Whenever she could, Rachel traveled along the Atlantic seacoast, taking notes for the new book, The Edge of the Sea. Once she bragged she and her mother had driven 2,000 miles in just a few months. Muffy, a favorite cat, traveled with them. They visited coral beaches in Florida, sandy beaches in North Carolina, and her own rocky Maine coast. Rachel wanted to know which animals lived where and why. The Edge of the Sea needed many drawings. Rachel asked Bob Hines, the fish and wildlife artist, to illustrate her book. Rachel had a close friendship with Bob, but not a romance. She said she never had time for dating or for marriage. Her friend Shirley added that, with an elderly mother and 2 nieces to support, Rachel had a lot more family responsibilities than many married people. 43 Bob joined Rachel, her mother, and Muffy in their wanderings up and down the Atlantic coast whenever he could. He drew pictures of the live animals Rachel found. Often when she was working, Rachel forgot all about time. She would stand for hours in icy cold tide pools in Maine, watching tiny animals. Sometimes her legs would get so numb she couldn't walk. Bob would pick her up like a stack of books and carry her back to the warmth of her car. Then Rachel would head back to Silver Spring or to Maine to write and rewrite the book. She described hundreds of the animals she had seen on coral, sandy, and rocky beaches. She explained how the animals' lives were shaped by these different environments, and her book showed the readers that they too fit into an environment. In October of 1955, The Edge of the Sea reached bookstores. It was another instant bestseller. Everyone wanted to meet the Thames Rachel Carson. Her fans found her in beauty parlors when her hair was up in curlers. They even knocked on her horror room door before she was dressed in the morning. Only in tiny West Southport, Maine, could she relax. Rachel had become close friends with her neighbors, Stanley and Dorothy Freeman. Rachel and Dorothy shared a love of nature, fine music, and the sea. Rachel's niece Margie often came on visits to Maine. 44. With her son, Roger. She was ill with arthritis and needed help with her little boy. When Roger was a baby, his father had died. Now Rachel was like a loving grandmother to him. Some of Roger's first words were the names of seashells that Rachel had shown him as they walked along beaches. From their times together, she wrote a magazine article about sharing nature with children. The most important thing for them to learn, she wrote, Issa, sense of the beautiful, the excitement of the new and the unknown. Then, early in 1957, sickness swept the family. Margie and Mrs. Carson had pneumonia, and Rachel caught the owl. Rachel and her mother fought off their illnesses, but Margie died. Suddenly, 50-year-old Rachel had a lively 5-year-old boy to care for, in addition to her own 89-year-old mother. It was harder than ever to find time to write. When the Freemans' grandchildren came to play with Roger, Rachel would lead them all down the steps behind her house to the ocean, rattling, sweared all their questions. A microscope always sat ready in the living room for closer looks at the animals. Have found, the children's mother remembered. Before we could have snacks, we had to carry everything back down the steps to the water and put each animal right back where we had found it.